while we're waiting for Keto for more intro topics, I think, okay, we don't know when Jura's identity is going to be revealed, so we have to start getting all of our crazy takes out there and start actually thinking about them to have elaborations on our crazy takes so it's more than like a 30-second video. So, with that being said, Jura has to be Jiraiya. I've thought about this, okay? Are you ready for this? Okay, so this is going to be the plot twist of a century, because it's hyped, first of all, because he's a popular character. So, Kabuto wasn't able to revive him using Edo Tensei because his body was at the bottom of the sea. So, how is Jura going to be Jiraiya rather than Kosin Koji? Well, he can... There's a lot of things that could happen here. First of all, he could go to the bottom of the sea because he's stronger than Kabuto. So, he could go retrieve Jiraiya's body. Or
Jura wasn't alive still. That doesn't work. You can't just have Jura be alive and then go retrieve Jiraiya's body.
Yes, I can.
The theory's already fallen apart.
Okay. The Shinju, the Ten Tails. This is where the Ten Tails left
I think a better
for.
thing would be that like Ishiki/Yamato somehow got Jiraiya onto the Ten Tails as a starting point.
Okay, now remember when Boruto arrived in Chapter 5 at the Code's Ten Tails dimension, and the Ten Tails left? What if this is where the Ten Tails left to go get Jiraiya's body? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, plot twist of a century, again. And it makes sense, because it happened. Therefore, it has to make sense, because it was written that way. And that's, I mean, every fan of Tubular Vortex will tell you, obviously. So, with that being said, the obvious comparisons here, obviously, Naruto's his target. Obviously, that would be Jiraiya's target. And so, you also have the weird hair. We've covered this previously. Obviously, Jura has weird hair. You know who else has weird hair? Jiraiya. In fact, so weird. It's like the only character in the whole series practically that's compared to Kaguya's hair. Like, he has an Otsutsuki-like ability, which already puts him at the playing game like trump card, like A-tier list level of Shinju desire probability to become. That said, it's also possible Jiraiya left his DNA all over the world, if you catch my drift, and that's how they got Jiraiya's DNA. Rather than needing his corpse from the bottom of the ocean, they just went to his hot springs or motel room or anywhere.
Yeah, the Ten Tails was trying to devour everything it could, and it caught a little... While it was drinking the spa water, it got a little bit of white fluid in there that gave it Jiraiya's DNA.
The white fluid from his white shampoo of his hair. That's because he was shampooing his hair. That's the white fluid. Moving on.
Of course, yeah.
So the next one, you're gonna like this a lot because we talked about this. Who better for a protagonist and antagonist position than the new Jiraiya versus the very new Jiraiya? Because again, remember, Kosin Koji is the antithesis to the Shinju. So, and because we've been saying Jura is the protagonist of this arc, and we're having this shocking revelation with Jura and his identity. And again, Kosin Koji, he knows his identity. He's the mix of both. The mix of alien and the mix of his old and the mix of humans and all of them together. Whereas Jura is the same, but the different side of the same coin. Therefore, protagonist antagonist clash of dynamic conflict, polar opposites, but equally the same. You know, like Naruto and Haku, they were the same, even as different as they were, and maybe in a different world, maybe in a different life. Jura and Kosin Koji could have been friends. But because of the conflict of the shinobi world, Jura is a tool, whereas Kosin Koji is trying to save the world. But because the darkest future is upon us, because Boruto failed, Kosin Koji being the next generation, because he's like 3 years old and Boruto's like 12, or 16, I should say at this point. Kosin Koji's like 6 now. So Kosin Koji's the next generation. He's picking up the mantle, and just as Boruto proved, the heart of a shinobi persists. Therefore, despite being born in an era of peace, Kosin Koji is going to continue the heart of a shinobi and defeat Jura through shinobi tactics, whereas Jura is going to rely on his Otsutsuki abilities rather than his Jiraiya abilities, just like Kosin Koji, because polar opposite dynamic side of the coin. Thoughts?
You know, this got me thinking.
Yeah.
What do you think about the idea if Kosin Koji just was the main character of the sequel series of Naruto? Never mind Boruto. We just have a Kosin Koji, the tale of Jiraiya's clone,
That's
or
very
the clone of Jiraiya the Gallant, or clone no Kosin Koji, clone of a gutsy ninja.
Considering what they did with Fate in Boruto Naruto Next Generations with him, and especially considering my time loop theory rewrite, I would love this as an idea if Kosin Koji just was the main character tagging along with Boruto for that same reason.
He's also one of the best thematic characters in this story, especially with the whole ninja and tool stuff. Obviously, parent and child, I think you could just do that with like Amato as like his parent, and like you have a parallel with Naruto or whatever. Like we can just implement it that way. But yeah, that would be lit.
Oh, and you know what?
At least a Kosin Koji movie, man.
Okay, I got the idea. I love this. Jura is going to figure out his identity is Jiraiya, who is Kosin Koji, and he's going to change his target again to Kosin Koji, which is thematically relevant to parallel Kosin Koji, whose target in terms of not eating but destroying is Jura. So they're going to target each other. But what target means, just like identity, target is a broad word and it can mean multiple things. And so we're going to see the themes play out thematically different based on the meaning of what it means to them to target each other as a shinobi and as a monster.
Ooh, that's cool. I see a mouse on my screen, but it ran away. Fuck. All right, anyway. Well, that definitely can work. I will say, just as a quick side note, I do think Ishiki could work in that aspect anyway. If Ishiki decided that the one person he didn't tell Code the target was Kosin Koji, what if Jura decides to target Kosin Koji because there's that nagging suspicion in the back of his mind that Koji's his real enemy. So it's like an Ishiki revenge, except it's Jura. So they're targeting each other, trying to finish each other off.
Yeah, well, whereas that could work, obviously it can't because Ishiki couldn't be Jura because it has to be Kosin Koji. So continuing with the Kosin Koji parallels of narrative peakness geniusness, Jiraiya, regardless of what it meant to him, Jiraiya targeted probably more characters than anyone in Naruto. The amount of females Jiraiya was targeting when he was alive is innumerable, countless. It's no wonder
statement you've ever said.
No wonder Jura has so many targets. He keeps changing it, or that the end goal of the Ten Tails even maybe Jiraiya rubbed off on the Ten Tails, and this is why the Ten Tails wants to devour everything. No, get this, because keep this in mind. Jiraiya wanted to eat those girls out, and so the Ten Tails wants to eat them out and in. The Ten Tails just eat them whole. Okay, that's gonna be more than Jiraiya ever did. And again, the next generation always surpasses the last. So because the Ten Tails, it's juvenile.
Yes, he said it. The next generation surpasses the last.
The Ten Tails is juvenile. Therefore, it's gotta surpass Jiraiya eating them. It's gotta eat them all. Yes, exactly. So the Ten Tails, continuing the themes of Naruto, is continuing the heart of a shinobi through Kashika. It's all making sense. Jura is Jiraiya.
Gotta eat them all. That's wild. I love it.
It's like Pokemon.
Why is this better?
Oh my
That's what I was thinking at first too. It's just Jiraiya Pokemon. Gotta eat them all.
Let's see. Are there any other parallels? The fact
I ain't gonna hold you, bro. That's just peak. That's peak.
Yeah, I mean, Jiraiya was a novelist, and what is Jura? A noveler. He reads, and in fact,
and you know what kind of books Jiraiya wrote? Jura certainly was reading up on all that stuff. In fact, that's probably what gave him the idea of a target. In Make Up Paradise, the main character probably gets a target female that they want to do some stuff with, and Jura's like, I wonder should I do the same?
I mean, Jura
And hence he gets
probably
his idea.
did read Makeout Tactics. Maybe that gave him some memories from Jiraiya. Or, get this, I got the craziest conspiracy theory for you. This is exponentially conspiracy-eyed because it's combining two different conspiracy theories, layered, nested within each other. The first one, I've said this before, I think when Jiraiya, in the time slip arc, realized it was Sasuke, and he's like, alright, Sasuke, erase my memory. I think before then, because he's a novelist, he wrote down what happened, and then he found it after erasing his memories, so he could retain his memories through finding the note that he left behind to himself. And that changes the future to where he was alive or something or whatever. I'm thinking, nesting this conspiracy theory onto that, one of the books Jura read was that note, meant for himself. And because Jura is Jiraiya, Jura remembers writing this note and remembers the time slip arc, and now he's going to remember Urashiki casting omnipotence, bringing him back into the fold, descending him from his realm up there with Shibai, and now Urashiki's going to be upset, and Urashiki's going to fight the Otsutsuki with Boruto and Kawaki to defeat Jura, and that's how that's going to play.
I mean, that's probably better than what we're going to actually get. So, hey, why not?
As long as we bring Urashiki
We're tying up
back,
all the loose ends. Jiraiya